Welcome to Ohio Roots, the official podcast of the Ohio Genealogical Society. Join us as we embark on a captivating journey through Ohio's rich genealogy, history, and abundant resources. Hosted by me, OGS Executive Director Noel Poirier, this podcast brings you insightful conversations with a diverse array of guests, from OGS members, chapter leaders, and staff to renowned genealogists, historians, and influential figures within the genealogical community. Each episode delves into fascinating topics and captivating stories. So grab your headphones, hit that play button, and join us on this enthralling journey of Ohio's roots. On this episode of the Ohio Roots podcast, we're going to be speaking with Marge Stefanski of the Toledo Polish Genealogical Society. I'm kind of looking forward to this really because I love hearing about all of the specific genealogical groups all across the state of Ohio and what they bring to the table in terms of what they can offer people doing research in those very specific areas of genealogy. So I hope you'll enjoy this conversation with Marge. I really enjoyed speaking with her. Hi, Marge. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Ohio Roots podcast to discuss with us the Toledo Polish Genealogical Society. I'm very excited to hear what you guys are up to.
Well, thank you for having me. We're happy to share our information with you because we feel like we have a wealth of information for our little society.
That's great. I'll ask you a question I ask everybody when they come on. What was it that got you interested in pursuing genealogy and family history?
Well, I think it started with my paternal grandfather. He died when I was 16.
Okay.
But it took me to like in my 50s. I happened to find a prayer card and it had his name on it in Calvary Cemetery. And I thought, I wonder how I can find him. And I thought, well, do you walk among all the markers? And
right.
I had no clue. So, my big deal was how am I going to find him and see where he's at? So that was kind of the spark.
So you're looking for a particular ancestor that got you going, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
Have you fleshed out your tree? How big of a tree have you gone with now?
I'm back about 5 generations now.
Wow.
I mean, it's taken a long time. I've been doing this since 2002.
Okay.
That's when, I found this little ad in the newspaper and it said, it kind of correlated with that prayer card I found because it said, are you interested in Polish genealogy? If so, they gave us a place, a time, come on down and, we'll see what we can do. So my prayer card and then this little message got me rolling.
That's great. That's great. So talk to me a little bit about the history of the Toledo Polish Genealogical Society. How long has it been around and who is responsible for it?
Right. Okay. Well, our organization started back in 2002. Like I said, with a little ad in the paper, come on down if you want to, do some research. There were about 5 or 6 people that attended that library session. And we had a lot in common. We had some easy flowing conversation. The basic questions seemed to be, have you done any research on your family? A few people had said yes. And so, we decided to go with it. Well, where do we want to meet and how do we want to, put this together moving forward? And that was our start at a small library basement.
Which library was it? Do you remember?
It was the Mott Library.
Okay.
And they gave us the meeting room in the basement for free.
Nice.
And, you didn't know what you were going to expect for people, but
right.
The group was nice. And it seemed like they kept the ad in the paper for a couple more weeks. And each week, a few more people came. And as people joined, it was soon evident that we needed to change our meeting place because that basement just wasn't big enough anymore. And through time, we've moved to 2 more libraries. They got too small. We ended up at a closed school that had classrooms, and that was just perfect for us. And currently, we are housed at St. Michael the Archangel School on Chase Street in North Toledo. It's no longer used as a school, but it fits our society perfectly.
Okay. How many members, you mentioned it was a few people at the beginning. How many members belong to the organization today?
Pretty much we have in Toledo and around the country, average about 135 people.
Wow, that's really great.
So, and it's really nice because those that are local, we meet 6 times a year for monthly meetings where we have seminars, webinars, guest speakers, book authors, topics of interest to the membership. We even had cooking demonstrations, show and tell. And at Christmas time, we have a Christmas party for
Right.
all the membership. So we all come together.
It sounds very, very active. I like the sound of that.
And we absolutely are.
Does the society undertake any particular projects in the community related to the history of the Polish community there, or is it really focused on individual people doing individual research?
No, actually, we have a group of volunteers. Over the years, we help at all times, but over the years, we've done some special projects because we need to preserve our heritage. And so the past 2 years, we've been scanning the original logbooks at Calvary Cemetery. They were in poor condition, and these were original books that dated back to 1887. When they came in, the staff was allowing you to just take the book, look through it, find what you wanted. And with that happening, there were missing pages, there were misfiled pages, and we saw these books falling apart. So we got permission from the diocese to scan all these books. We scan them, we put the pages into archival sleeves, archival boxes. So now when you come into the cemetery, basically all you do is ask, give them your information, and they'll pull up this information and give you a copy. You're not getting the books anymore. So, and now currently we have a volunteer group. We're back at the cemetery because we decided that we were going to scan all the individual burial cards and the lot cards and the purchaser cards. And then we send them to a group of members that index these cards on an Excel spreadsheet. And that, again, will be something you won't have to handle the original cards. And yet you get the information that you need.
I'm curious, when you're researching a Polish ancestor, particularly, and we can say one that came to Ohio, but maybe anywhere, what are some of the real challenges to that research?
Well, I think a lot of times, people don't realize that you have to help us by giving as much information as you have. And sometimes you don't have any, but we have a library staff. We actually house the library at St. Michael's School. We have librarians, and we have resources. And what they do is they take that information and then they start with you and they work backwards up to that relative. So the more you have for us, the easier it seems to be. And our staff has been doing this for so long, they know whether to go to Ancestry or Family Search or MyHeritage. Local churches, all those places are where we're heading to get you the documentation that you need for that particular person.
Is language ever an issue?
It is, but for the most part, thank heaven we have genealogical translation, because you can send, if some of our members, some of them do speak Polish, but some of the writing is very difficult. And so we can send that to this group of people, and for free they translate. So that's a benefit, definitely.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Are your members tracing their genealogy not just to Toledo, but do they go back into Poland as well? Because I would imagine that would be a real challenge.
Oh, absolutely. But thank heaven we have Łukasz Bialecki, who we did have come from Poland. He's in charge of the Poznan project. We had him as a speaker one year. He came to town. So he came and we had a nice dinner, and he told us all about the Poznan project. And we have other connections. Some of our group has family in Poland that help us through this as well. So, but we have a lot of connections there that get us through for the most part.
I just think when I think of Poland historically, and I'm a historian by training, I tend to think of Poland as being constantly invaded and divided. And I would think that would make the record keeping very difficult to keep track of over time, maybe.
Well, in some places it is. I mean, if you have a good connection and sources, sometimes you can get the information you want. Other times, no matter what you try to do, there are certain areas that this information is just, not available to us. But more and more, there are groups that are getting this information online. And so as it becomes available, we make our members aware of it so that they can research and hopefully find what they're looking for.
Aside from just historical challenges to doing the research, what challenges does the chapter face just as an organization nowadays?
Well, I think, part of the thing is our challenges are getting younger people involved in genealogy, obviously. I mean, we're using social media. We have a
Right.
Facebook page, which is popular to all ages.
Hmm.
We try to share events that might be of interest to, people, and hopefully we can get, some more members through that. And we're constantly looking for things to
Right.
do that
Right.
might involve a younger group of people, and we try to work closely with the other Polish societies in the area,
Okay.
to just keep us alive.
Yeah. What are some of those other societies? I'm curious.
We have TAPS, which is
Okay.
the Toledo Area Polka Society.
Okay.
They hold an annual picnic, a Polish picnic every year, and our
That
group
sounds fun.
volunteers there. It absolutely is. It's a big organization. We have the Polish Roman Catholic Union of America,
Mhm.
and we have membership. A lot of the people are crossovers. The Toledo Poznan Alliance is another
Okay.
one. So you'll find if you ask people in our group, uh, we're a little bit spread out in all these other
Hmm.
groups as well. The Echoes
Right.
of Poland, I mean, we've helped them make their pierogi for their pierogi sale.
Okay.
So we volunteer where we can and help out, and
Yeah.
in turn, they help
I mean,
us.
I mean, that's wonderful that the community, the Polish heritage community is so tight there.
We try. It's important because it's mainly a lot of older people, and in order to keep the societies afloat, we really have to find some
Yeah.
ways to, to keep getting others involved so that these small organizations don't die out.
Right. Well, you're not alone in your efforts to try to attract a younger audience to genealogy and family history. That's for sure. I know we do that with OGS as much as we can.
Right.
And it is a challenge, but it's a challenge worth doing.
The Ohio Roots podcast is brought to you by the Ohio Genealogical Society, the premier gateway for discovering your Ohio family history. To learn more about joining, visit www.ogs.org.
If you enjoy listening to the Ohio Roots podcast, we would really appreciate it if you could go to whatever platform it is that you listen and give us a good review. Reviews help us get more listeners and reach more people with Ohio Roots and what we're trying to do with the Ohio Genealogical Society. So please leave us a nice review, and thanks for listening. You mentioned, I mean, when you started talking, you talked about a lot of different things that the society does. Talk to me a little bit about the specific educational kind of programs that you're offering as part of your organization's programming.
Sure. Well, that's, I think, where our library comes in. That is definitely the gem of our society. It is set up in a classroom. I mean, there you're going to find you have use of Wi-Fi. We are an LDS affiliate, so you can search films that are normally locked that you would have to go down to Perrysburg. We have that available to membership.
Wow.
We have a wonderful staff of library leaders and helpers who get members through their brick walls. They're not there to do your genealogy, but help you research and get results. We have reference books, fiction, nonfiction books you can check out, naturalization records. There's a large collection of local church records where you might be able to find your birth, marriage, or death information for your loved ones. And since several of our churches have closed, it's important that we get these records and preserve them for the future in our generation. But I would say if you come to our library, we have enough genealogy reference material that you can probably find 90 to 95% of what you're looking for on site. You can bring your laptop, or we have a couple available at our facility. You can print copies for a small fee. And we have that library available to members on the second and fourth Wednesday of every month, weather permitting. So if you're a member of the society, the library is there for you.
Well, that's great. And I know you mentioned webinars as well as some of your programming and speakers. I know we had a challenge when the COVID pandemic began of having to kind of pivot a little bit away from in-person functions and offer more online opportunities. Is that something that your society is doing as well?
That was talked about, but with the older people, we suggested doing Zoom sessions or something, and it was really hard. So, for the most part, that hurt us tremendously. But I think we've since have been made stronger because of it.
Right.
People look forward to coming, and
Sure.
camaraderie, and just what you learn from each other. So
Yeah.
yeah, it did set us back a little bit, but I think we're back up and running, and
That's great.
good response.
Yeah, I think that most of us get involved with organizations because we love something, but also because we like the social aspects of it. And so when you rob people of the social aspect of it, it makes it a little less enjoyable, I think. So it's nice to be able to continue to do those things.
It really is. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of people look forward just to come, they're older, so they might be home alone, and to come in and sit and talk about somebody's busha or jaja, or this was my neighbor, or I remember so and so.
Right.
Storytelling is just, it's phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
we have people that love to tell their stories, and at our monthly meetings, when a new member comes, we usually ask them to introduce themselves and tell us what names are you researching. And I don't think a month goes by, the new member comes in and mentions their surnames. Somebody will pop up and say, oh, was that Mrs. So-and-so that lived on this street or that street? Well, that was my neighbor, or I'm related. And so, it's just really wonderful to have that information available, and to know that you're accepted as soon as you walk in the door.
Right. Yeah, that it kind of raises another question in my head: is were there specific communities in Toledo that were fundamentally Polish communities?
Yes, there were. We were pretty much divided in Kuszwans and Lugrinka.
Okay.
And from the stories that I've heard, you stay in your own neighborhood. Kuszwans doesn't cross over, and Lugrinka doesn't go that way. And we had our churches. I mean, the first Polish church was St. Hedwig's, which is now unfortunately closed.
Okay.
And it's been twinned with St. Adalbert's, which is about 8 blocks from the St. Hedwig's Church. So, so people knew you stayed in your own neighborhood. But somehow things got crossed up, because my mom lived in Lugrinka and my dad lived in Kuszwans. And somehow they figured out how to make it work. So I think there was a possibility that you obviously, where there was a will, there was a way.
Right.
And, but now these areas have changed tremendously.
Sure.
I mean, and unfortunately, the churches are closing, the schools have closed. So, that just makes it more difficult. And when people come to the neighborhood, they're kind of sad to go past Busha's house and say, oh my gosh, either it looks really bad or it doesn't even exist.
Right. It's not there anymore. Yeah. It's a shame.
It's changing times.
If a person came to you and said, I have this Polish ancestor I'd like to research, what is a great tip you think you would give them?
Well, I think first I would say, let me see what you have. We have no problem. We'd like you to join the society. I mean, we do, it's only $20 a year for a single person, or $25 for 2 people in one household. And I guarantee what you get out of this is there's a big benefit. But yeah, we would try to encourage them to give us all the information they can. I mean, do you know what street they lived on? Do you have any dates where they were born? Any information that will help us start, because just dropping a name is very difficult. So bring what you have, what you can. And one of our group, somebody is always there that will help you, will show you what the sites are, how to start looking. And I don't think you'll be disappointed. I don't think you'll walk out with not finding anything. We always find something. And if it piques your interest, you come back, and we just go over and over teaching you how to use the sites until you're comfortable, and then you can go off on your own.
Right. I appreciate that. And I also know that the volunteer at the OGS library who got me your contact information to speak with you today. I know she's raved about how wonderful the society has been in helping her kind of track her own Polish ancestry. And so I think that what you're doing there is wonderful work for people. And I think it's great. Does the society have a website or Facebook page that people can go to?
Yep, we have a Facebook page, which is the Toledo Polish Genealogical Society. We have a website, which is www.toledopgs.com. And we have email, which would be info@toledopgs.com. We are kind of there for everybody, so you can check these out. You can learn a little bit more about us. We have the membership information on our sites. You can pay through PayPal if that's of interest to you. There's always somebody looking at the site. On Facebook, you can definitely get a good feel for the questions that people ask, the things that we're able to answer, and kind of make a determination if this is something that you're interested in. But I can say if you're looking for, family, if you're looking for neighbors, or just relatives that you have no clue, we definitely are there. And I think I'm going to say 97% of the time, we'll find you an answer.
That's great. Well, Marge, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about the Toledo Polish Genealogical Society. I really appreciated learning everything I could about it, and I think our listeners will as well. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. If you're ever in Toledo, look us up. We'd be glad to take you through on a tour. Have a good
Love
day.
it. Thanks. Bye-bye. Well, thank you very much to Marge for talking to us today on the Ohio Roots podcast about the Toledo Polish Genealogical Society. It's really exciting to hear what chapters like hers are doing all across the state of Ohio, specifically some of these specialized chapters that are kind of out there on their own, not necessarily a chapter affiliated with the Ohio Genealogical Society, although we would welcome them if they were interested in doing so. It's really easy. All they have to do is reach out to me, and any chapter in Ohio can find out how to do that. So again, big thank you to Marge, big thank you to the Toledo Polish Genealogical Society, and a big thank you to you for listening to the Ohio Roots podcast.
The Ohio Roots podcast is brought to you by the Ohio Genealogical Society, the premier gateway for discovering your Ohio family history. Hosted by OGS Executive Director Noel Poyer and edited by Luke Poyer. Theme song is Beautiful Ohio, recorded by Bob Stanley and his orchestra in 1944. To learn more about joining the Ohio Genealogical Society, visit www.ogs.org.